When Miami's offseason kicked off in 2025, there was this charged electricity pulsing through the hearts of every Dolphins fan. The air crackled with questions. Where's the front office steering this ship? Are we settling, or are we about to take a monstrous leap? Everyone expected fireworks. Some of the early moves hinted at hesitation, but one bold swing above all raised eyebrows and broke conversation. It felt like a high-stakes gamble, and the whole town was watching. Let's talk about Calais Campbell. This was the one everyone circled. He'd been the anchor of our defensive line, that veteran force who brings both muscle and wisdom. And yet, when the time came to secure his future, the Dolphins put an offer on the table, and as Campbell himself flat out said, it just didn't sing to him. He had a decision to make. Stay where he'd built momentum or head back to where it all began, in Arizona. He chose to leave. That move stung, but honestly, it carried its own poetry. He's returning to the Cardinals, the team that welcomed him into the league. There's symmetry there, a full-circle moment that's almost cinematic. Now, fans will argue. Could Miami have done more to show him love? Sure, but it wasn't lost on anyone that there was a clear intention from Campbell's side. He openly hoped for a release before season's end so he could jump into the ring chase, the ultimate prize. When talk spiraled around at 3 games from the end, he didn't appear bitter towards us, just matter of fact. There was a resignation in his tone that said, "This isn't my forever home, but I gave it my all." So, as spring turned to early summer, Calais departed. It hurt. We all felt that pinch. Our defensive line suddenly looked like thin ice, trembling under the weight of a storm that was still gathering. Campbell and Christian Wilkins represented not just ability, but presence. They held space, anchored gaps, set the tone. With just Zach Sealer and a couple of rotational bodies left, the depth chart wasn't comforting. We'd waved goodbye to the rest of the crew. Any real vet experience drained away, leaving mostly hope and potential behind. The margin for error slimmed in a hurry. That brings us to the big pivot, the draft. Miami's entire defensive tackle strategy hinged on draft day. No splashes in free agency. No mid-level veterans scooped up. Just a clear, unfussy game plan. Hit it hard in April. So they scoped the board and set their sights on one name who could turn out to be a keystone. Kenneth Grant, the Michigan standout. Grant isn't the loudest name on the draft buzz. They're all shouting edge rusher or shut down corner. But tape doesn't lie. What he showed, down in Ann Arbor, was a blend of motor and instincts that rarely leave a defensive line wanting. He's deceptively quick, scrappy, and savvy. He diagnoses plays. He uses strength against size and size against speed. That curious blend is what caught Miami's eyes. They weren't just looking for another run stuffer. They wanted someone who moved the needle in multiple ways. But that's where the gamble sits in stark clarity. This has to happen overnight. Grant isn't just a prospect they like. He needs to be someone who steps in on day one. He's not a luxury project. We're not waiting for year 2 or year 3. We need him to build on the vacuum left by Campbell and Wilkins. No pressure, right? Let's dig into what's happened so far. Minicamp footage and whispers from coaches painted a picture of a grinder. They talk about him showing up early, asking questions, absorbing playbooks like sponge. That work ethic, yeah, it's real. That hustle in shorts and helmets means something even before pads come on. And for someone who needs to transition fast, the mental side is half the battle. But shorts and helmets don't smash bodies the way padded practices do. The next stretch, training camp, is where reputations are cemented. That's when you're either a clutch replacement or a bubble player. And for Grant, there's no in-between. He earned the nod to practice at minicamp. Now he must prove he belongs. He's up against vet-level physicality, NFL-level tempo. And the spotlight is on, no escaping that. So we find ourselves asking, can he hold it together? Can he deliver gap control, push the pocket, rotator disrupting consistency? Or will the system need to scramble, finding fallback options in free agency or experiment with hybrid packages? It's exactly that tension, the hope warring with the reality, that makes us feel electric. Let's step back. Losing Campbell could have been a door slamming in our face. But maybe it's also a crack we can slip through, a fresh identity, a new line ethos, an opportunity to develop the next wave. We're in that stretch where mistake equals breath, held across South Florida. But reward is an applause echoing through stadium bleachers when Grant starts wrecking backfields. The mix of anxiety and anticipation is visceral. Let's throw in another layer, community vibe. Fans are hungry. They're tweeting, discussing, speculating. Some are saying, too risky. Others are rallying. This kid's the wake-up call we need. That tension bleeds into when Miami's 2025 offseason opened. There wasn't confusion. There was curiosity. The kind that hangs around when a team's at a tipping point.